From Ronda Rousey competing in the first ever women's fight to Sheik Kongo versus Pat Barry, several legendary UFC bouts have only lasted one round. And today, we're gonna talk about them, starting with Ronda Rousey versus Liz Carmouche.
Rousey, more pressure. She's looking for it. She got it once again. Wow. First round armbar finish for the champion, Ronda Rousey. Wow.
The first ever women's fight in UFC ended straight up in the history books. Who would have thought? Of course, Rousey was the clear favorite to win that fight, but it wasn't easy for her at all. She gave us quite a scare, too. Right from the start, Rousey sprinted across the octagon trying to take Carmouche down. But Carmouche is very smart. She countered the move and got Rousey's back. She was so close to locking Rousey in a rear-naked chokehold. Rousey, on the other hand, well, she's even smarter than Carmouche. Somehow, she managed to get out of that position and create an opportunity to attack her opponent. It was brilliant. The only thing left for her to do was finish the fight, and that's what she did. Rousey locked in her dreaded armbar, and the fight was over. It was the day when Rousey announced herself to the world, just how Stipe Miocic did in his fight against Alistair Overeem.
Overeem early. Boom. Knocked Stipe back, and he swarmed. But Miocic, the aggressor.
Miocic was defending his title for the first time in his hometown of Cleveland. He had the support of local fans and fans around the world and was the favorite going into that fight. But there's nothing normal when it comes to UFC, and this fight wasn't normal either. Both the champion and the challenger entered the octagon, and they looked as calm as ever. I still don't know how can someone be that calm in a championship match. As soon as the fight started, Overeem wanted to dominate it right from that point. He sent Miocic to the ground. The only thing Overeem had in his mind at that moment was to win this fight via submission. He had the perfect opportunity to go for a submission hold, but Miocic was able to counter. He took Overeem down, landed a few punches, and knocked him out. But at least the fighters in this one were calm, because the next fight was utter chaos. John Lineker versus Francisco Rivera. The two managed to create such chaos in the octagon, even though the fight only lasted just over 2 minutes. Just hear me out. Lineker had a great start as he hurt Rivera badly. He did this in just 1 minute. Any sensible fighter would put their hands up to cover their face and block the shots, but not Rivera. I mean, he was a sensible fighter, but not at this moment. Rivera decided to throw random punches toward the fence. Luckily, he caught Lineker cleanly a couple of times. I don't know how, but he did. But Lineker, he wasn't going down that easily. He took a couple of shots at Rivera himself and hurt him badly. Rivera was down. Lineker cashed in on this opportunity and put Rivera on a submission hold. Rivera was left with no option but to tap out. It was a crazy fight. Unlike this next one, Frank Mir versus Antonio Nogueira. This rematch is undoubtedly one of the greatest fights of all time. I mean, it featured two heavyweight greats. It was destined to be legendary. Nogueira had a great start to the fight. He was able to hurt Mir early with those big, powerful hands. But Nogueira made one mistake there. He went for a submission hold, when he should have landed huge blows to hurt Mir even more. As soon as he went for the submission hold, Mir managed to escape, and a fighter like Mir is never going to give you a second chance. Mir landed on top of Nogueira, and it looked like he had something on his mind. This time, Mir looked for a submission attempt of his own, but it's Frank Mir. Of course, he was successful in doing so. Mir grabbed Nogueira's arm and applied the Kimura hold, and he broke Nogueira's arm to win that fight. Ouch! It was some comeback by Frank Mir. Speaking of comebacks, the next fight involved one too. Donald Cerrone versus Melvin Guillard. It was Cerrone's homecoming at UFC 150 in Denver. What was supposed to be a not-too-tough fight for Cerrone almost got insanely tough for him in just a matter of seconds. Guillard, as expected, tried to hurt Cerrone right from the start, and he almost got him, guys. It was close. Cerrone did a really good job at avoiding those attacks from Guillard. You don't have much time in fights like these. So Cerrone had to think of something quickly because Guillard was coming right at him, and Cerrone did. He composed himself quickly, and a few moments later, boom, a head kick to Guillard, and the fight was over right there. The fight only lasted 76 seconds, but it was one heck of a fight. And while most of these fights involved bitter rivals, have you ever seen two friends fight in UFC? Because that's what happened in Andrei Arlovski versus Travis Browne.
Mark Smith right on top of the action. Oh, my goodness!
Big shot from Travis. Arlovski back up.
Wow!
What a fight!
Unbelievable!
Big knee by Arlovski. Travis is hurt.
Two buddies fighting each other at UFC 186. Who would have thought about that? But despite being friends, they produced one of the greatest one-round fights in not only UFC, but MMA history. That's how good this one was. Arlovski had a very good start to that fight. He was the one who dominated the first few moments of that fight. It looked like we're going to see a quick knockout by Arlovski, but Browne's sudden wild hook sent him down. But that was the only time when Browne looked in control, because Arlovski was quickly back in his stride. He landed one big shot after another to end that fight. It was an amazing bout to watch. While there was still some love between Arlovski and Browne, the same can't be said about this next one, Matt Hughes versus Frank Trigg 2. There were two reasons why this match had so much hype. One, it was a fight between big rivals, and two, it was for the welterweight championship. Things rarely get any more exciting than this one. Hughes was hurt early on by Trigg. Trigg was dominating the first few moments of that fight, and when he held Hughes in a rear naked choke, it looked like the fight was over for him. But Hughes, man, he's built different. He escaped the submission move, slammed Trigg to the ground, hit him with some powerful punches, and finally went for a rear naked choke. Trigg couldn't take it, and the fight was over. It was an astonishing comeback by Hughes. Speaking of great comebacks, this last fight involves one of the greatest comebacks of all time, Sheik Kongo versus Pat Barry.
Kongo in all kinds of trouble. And Kongo gets to his feet on wobbly legs. He clips him with this one behind the ear. And this uppercut, boom, right on the jaw.
On top of being one of the greatest comebacks, it's one of the greatest one-round bouts of all time, too. Barry and Kongo were two huge fighters, and when those two collided, the whole world was watching. Barry had it all sorted out at the beginning of the fight. He landed a right hook, which hurt Kongo pretty badly. Barry continued with the strikes while Kongo was rolling all over the octagon. Kongo was surprised. Barry looked really close to finishing the fight until Kongo found his balance and finally got up. Barry ran towards him, but this time Kongo wasn't going down. He landed two sweet left hooks, which put Barry on the ground. It took a few more blows from Kongo to take Barry out, but he finally did it. Fights like this don't happen every day. It was remarkable. That's all for the best UFC fights that only lasted one round.
A moment for women's sports, period.
White trunks for Carmouche.